folks, and just shortly we will be getting the national anthems underway, and we will go into silence from there.
Make some noise for GE men, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And I please ask you to be upstanding for the national anthems. First of all, the national anthem of Luxembourg. And now, the national anthem of Great Britain.
Just over 3 minutes until tip-off here in Manchester. Some other scores tonight to bring you from these pre-qualifiers. Iceland sneaking a 83-82 win over Switzerland. Denmark beating Albania 95-73. And Romania defeating Slovakia 85-68. So the Nate ranking era here in Manchester will be beginning shortly. He is 1-0 as head coach, and you spoke to Nate Ranking following that Kosovo game and again today. What's he been saying to his guys, and what's been the general verb around the Great Britain camp?
It's been a very light regime, really. Of course, he came in, took over just last week, 4 days of practice for that Kosovo game. Just one light practice last night after a long trip back from Kosovo, a shoot around this morning. So it's been very much just getting simple things, looking at the strengths of his players, trying to just get that game, a very minimalist game plan in, and just looking for small increments tonight. And just when I spoke to him about 30 minutes ago before tip-off, I think the key for him tonight was just getting guys to just remember their roles, remember what they're good at. It won't be a case tonight of intricate plays. Longer term, yes, you hope you're able to develop a particular scheme, but this has very much been on the fly for him. His second game in charge, of course, went to the Olympics with Great Britain 2012, 80 appearances for his national team. He's currently the coach of the NBA G League's Canton Charge, but drafted in at the 11th hour ahead of this campaign. But you'll see him out now, just preparing his team in the other huddle there, really hoping that he can keep this unbeaten record going for over tonight after that first victory in midweek.
1 minute and 10 seconds away from tip-off. As you can see, Nate Rankin there on the screen just giving some last-minute advice to his guys. And Luxembourg, who arrived yesterday morning into Manchester, have been taking in the sights of the Northwest. They visited the Etihad Stadium, which is only a few minutes away from here. Of course, a number of them, it's a very young squad, this Luxembourg team. Only 3 survivors from the team that beat GB in 2016. They will be starting with Felipe Gutenkopf, Thomas Grun, Alex Laurent, Oliver Vucekovic and Robert Xavier. As the Great Britain team come out, Nate Rankin saying that it will be mainly the starting 5 that started in Kosovo. We'll just await confirmation of that.
Well, I think the big thing tonight, if you look at both these teams, it's going to be how quickly can you get your shooters settled in this game. GB did not shoot the ball well in midweek, and just 9 of 28 from three-point range, and really struggled in the first half, of 1 for 11 at one point. So can you get your shooters out, get them confident, get them in good positions? And the same for Luxembourg. They have nice shooters. The spacing, the ball movement that they have does get open shots. Great Britain's guards, I think, will have to get out in the perimeter, make sure they're very alert defensively. Luxembourg will start with a lot of size. It's an intriguing lineup they've got. Effectively, it's 4 bigs and a guard. So Great Britain will have to be aware of those guys can shoot over them. There's a lot more size on that floor. Can they make sure they use their speed to combat that right from the very off?
And Great Britain will be starting with Teddy Okorafor, who will be the number 5, Luke Nelson, Gabe Olaseni, Miles Hessen, and Mo Solowadi.
Alex Laurent, 15, Oliver Vucekovic, and 32 in
The same starting 5 that they had in midweek, and Olaseni up for the jump ball, 0 for Great Britain. Terrific game, 15 points, 13 rebounds. He is the fulcrum of this Great Britain team, offensively and defensively. Seeing him industrious inside at both ends of the floor, that'll be a big thing for Great Britain tonight. If he's active, Great Britain generally can dominate in that area.
And here we go in Manchester. Okorafor with the ball. Solowadi looking inside for Olaseni. Wants to kick it out. Here's Okorafor. Hessen for 3 is good. Great start from Great Britain. Miles Hessen on the board from downtown. Thomas Grun. A lot of the offense seems to run through Thomas Grun, as it was proven in their win against Kosovo. Gutenkopf. Gutenkopf looking for options. Pull-up jumper from Gutenkopf is good.
And that's what they did very well against Kosovo. It was, daring teams to come out and mash them. And when they don't, they're capable of inflicting punishment.
Just before these pre-qualifiers, Luxembourg practiced a lot of their three-point shooting, I was told, in their practice sessions. Inside for Olaseni is no good. Good defense there from Xavier. And again, no good. And the rebound goes to Vucekovic.
And that's solid 2 plays there from Francois, not afraid to match up and move on Olaseni inside and out.
Here is Xavier, and his hook shot is good for 2.
Yeah, a really good experienced player. Plays his club basketball for Mondino in Belgium, and that size inside that he's got evident at both ends of the floor already.
Luxembourg up 4-3. Hessen from deep, no good, but he gets the long rebound, goes inside, off the glass is good, and the foul. Good start here from Miles Hessen, already with 5 points.
A captain's lead there from Miles Hessen, and someone, if we're looking at British basketball as a story, someone coming through the ranks in his hometown, City of Birmingham club, not a player that went to a big club in Europe or a college in the States, grew through the system here and has made all the way up, played in the French league last season, an example of what you can do with hard work and taking your opportunities.
That's the first foul on Thomas Grun, who's on the ball now. Thomas Grun driving at Nelson inside, but the whistle's gone. And it'll be an end-line ball to Luxembourg. A lot of the offense running through Thomas Grun in the early going, as well as this man, Gutenkopf, for two is good. Another two from Felipe Gutenkopf. Plays his club basketball for Itzela, who won the domestic double last season. A block there from Xavier, and an offensive foul was called.
Luxembourg aggressive defensively here in these first few minutes, not afraid of GB's athleticism, guarding closely and putting pressure with Solowati there with the half-court pressure. GB starting to put some of their own on.
Here is Grun. Vucekovic driving at Nelson, has to stop, puts up a wild shot, and it goes in. Okorafor on the ball. Luxembourg up 8-6. Nelson for three is good. Luke Nelson struggled to get into form against Kosovo, on the board early here for Great Britain.
Well, the second half against Kosovo, came alert there, but first half struggled, and that will be good for his confidence.
Alex Laurent's shot is no good. He had a great game when these two teams met in London, had 30 points overall. Here is Nelson. Nelson gets the ball back from Okorafor, and his three is no good. Laurent with the rebound. Vucekovic at the top of the key. Here's Gutenkopf putting the moves on Okorafor. Inside it goes. Vucekovic with a wild two, though, is no good. Olaseni with the rebound. Hessen backing up Grun. Turnaround jumper. No good. Olaseni, though, with the offensive board. And he's just travelled with it. Was caught in two minds there, Mark, whether to go to Okorafor or go himself.
And that's with really one legitimate big in Olaseni, where GB need him to be on the block, need him to find good positions there. That was a tough one on the elbow. Where they find him with the ball is a huge factor in how effective he can be with it.
Laurent inside is good, and one. Beautiful play from Alex Laurent. Had 22 points in the win against Kosovo over the weekend, and he's on the board here tonight. Luxembourg up 10-9, 6:02 remaining in the first quarter. And Laurent rattles in the free throw, and Luxembourg off to a really good start here in Manchester, up 11-9. Olaseni at the top of the key. Nelson, nice pass inside to Olaseni, and the foul.
And that's what we talk about, getting the ball to Gabe Olaseni in good positions. He makes the cut there. He makes a strong cut. He's powerful enough to do that. Gets the score and gets the foul. And of course, the other bully boy that GB have normally on the roster, Ove Soko. A lot of people would be interested maybe to have seen him tonight. You might have watched him on Love Island recently on television.
How do you know I watched him?
On the roster. I know you're an avid fan. I'm sure you're an avid fan. Not here tonight, sadly, in action for GB.
Has been practicing with the GB setup before these pre-qualifiers. Gunn with the runner is no good. Okorafor with the ball. Looking for options, kicks it out. Nelson for three straight away. No good. Hessen with the board is good. And now Great Britain with a 12-11 lead. Vucekovic for Luxembourg. Laurent looking for options. Inside it goes back to Vucekovic. Nice pass to Gutenkopf. Likes that mid-range jumper. That's his second one of the game for Philippe Gutenkopf. Both teams not having any trouble shooting the ball earlier on as Teddy Okorafor battles his way inside and scores.
Nice poise there from Okorafor. You know, you almost thought he was going to draw the foul. Thought, I haven't, but I've got space. Let's take the shot.
Robert Xavier loses the ball. That'll be a Great Britain possession. Good defense there from Gabe Olaseni, who will be coming out, and Ashley Hamilton of the London City Royals, spent last season at the London City Royals, comes in. And Joe Calms comes in for Luxembourg, and Robert Xavier takes a seat. Here is Hamilton on the ball. Luke Nelson seeing a lot of the ball so far, especially around the perimeter. Here's Hamilton muscling his way inside and scores. Beautiful hook shot there from Ashley Hamilton. Laurent was thinking about attacking the hoop, instead kicks it back out to Gutenkopf. Nice play there with Laurent, but his floater is no good. Miles Hessen in transition. And Ashley Hamilton stepped out of bounds, and it will be a Luxembourg possession. What have you made so far? We're nearing the end of this first quarter. Great Britain up 18-13. Both teams, though, at the moment, Mark, not having any trouble shooting the ball or going inside. It's been a very attacking-minded first quarter.
Well, you look at so far, GB three-point range 2 of 5. Luxembourg just taking one three-point shot. You know, they've gone inside, which was the hot spot for them against the Kosovans last weekend. So, you know, against these teams two filling each other out, still looking to get to their strengths.
Gutenkopf's two is way off. Miles Hessen with some good defense there to slightly alter that shot. Great Britain possession with 3:42 remaining in this first quarter, and Okorafor and Hamilton nearly get themselves muddled up there as Okafor brings it over the timeline. Okorafor passes it out, and Ogunle into the game for the first time. His three-pointer is no good.
Yeah, really interested to see him play tonight. Made his first appearance for GB the other night playing Lotia Ogunle. He's just signed his first professional contract with Bergamo of the Italian League, coming out of college. Lots of talent. One of these younger players coming through from GB, and you know, you may look over a few years, was there a small lull in talent? Yes, possibly, but lots of bright talent under the age of 25 now coming through and available for international duty.
Connor Washington into the game as well, replacing Luke Nelson. Hamilton loses the ball, and now Luxembourg can break. Here's Thomas Grun, and instead they decide to hold it Philippe Arnott into the game for the first time. Here is Laurent, and that comes off Ashley Hamilton. It'll be a Luxembourg possession. Grun, here's Laurent for three. No good, but he will be going to the foul line for 3 shots. Coming around off the curve, Alex Laurent. Had such a great game against Kosovo. And considered one of the main scoring options, Mark, for this Luxembourg team, Alex Laurent.
Well, you look at the composition of this Luxembourg team. Most of these players are part-time, playing in their domestic league, you know, core to the team, maybe playing overseas, but you see already what we talked about playing for the strengths. They play simple, effective basketball, and they're drawing fouls, taking a good shot, being smart about what they do. Alex Laurent, one of the 3 professionals actually that plays for these
for this Luxembourg team, plays his basketball in Holland for Den Helden Suns. When Luxembourg were last here in England, in London to be exact, he had 30 points for Luxembourg. Great Britain coming away with the win on that night. Here's Okorafor. Okorafor attacking the hoop, but his layup is short. And here comes Laurent in transition for Luxembourg. Grun. Arhant using his pace. Good defense there, though, from Okorafor to swipe it away from him. And here come Great Britain once again. Luthier Agunye going to the line for two. Good attacking play there from the 23-year-old, and he'll be going to the foul line for two. Okorafor and Miles Hessen coming out. Luke Nelson and Gabe Olaseni coming in.
And that was a backcourt. Nelson, Washington are out together. A backcourt that worked very well the other night. A smaller lineup, three-guard lineup on the floor now, put by night ranking. But you just want that aggression from the guards. Take the ball, earn fouls. If you can't get the score, earn the fouls. Put Luxembourg's depth under pressure. That's, in the first quarter, if you want to set the tone, just ask questions, pose some problems.
Kevin Mora into the game for Luxembourg, replacing Thomas Grun. Here he is on the ball now. Just coming up to 2 minutes left in this first quarter. Great Britain lead 20-15, and Ashley Hamilton takes it off Laurent. And Connor Washington on the ball. Here's Nelson. Nelson kicks it out. Washington for three. No good. And the rebound by Jan Wolf, who's into the game as well for Luxembourg. Here is Joe Calms. Laurent. More good defense from Great Britain, especially around the perimeter. Shot clock winding down. It will stay a Luxembourg ball with 6 on the shot clock. Inside it goes. Calms nearly travels with it. Here's Laurent. Shot clock winding down. Puts up a three. Alex Laurent is no good. Olaseni with the rebound. That's his 4th rebound of this game. And Connor Washington loses it. Kevin Mora picks it up. Very scrappy couple of possessions here for both teams. Mora looking for options. As the shot clock again winds down to 3. Arhant for 3 is no good. And ball's gone out of bounds. It will be a Great Britain ball.
But what I like still about that offensive play from Luxembourg is that rotation, the motion that they have out there. Olaseni dragged out of the paint, room created in the middle. That on that occasion wasn't exploited, but could have been. So, the way they're attacking Great Britain now is causing difficulties. It's switching matchups defensively, and GB, I think, when they go into this first quarter timeout, will be saying to one another, look, we need to just be tighter, more effective defensively.
There was actually a foul at the other end, so Dwayne Luthier-Lagunye will be going to the foul line for 2. Misses his first. Of course, as you said, Mark signed his first professional contract. Will be playing his basketball in Italy this coming season. The 23-year-old missed both of his free throws on that occasion. Here is Arhant. Vucekovic thought about the 3. Shot clock again winding down. Good defense, though, from Ashley Hamilton, and it will be a Great Britain ball. Last came off Jan Wolf. These last few possessions, there's been some good defense played there from GB, especially inside. Connor Washington straight away for 3. No good. On the follow was Ashley Hamilton, but there was too many bodies in the way for him to perfectly execute that. Mora gets it back. Mora for three. No good. Very scrappy here, but Ashley Hamilton comes up with it, and it straight away went to Dwayne Lothier-Ogunlier, and it's come back out of bounds.
Well, he got away with that one, didn't he? Not perhaps the most sensible pass when you're sitting on the floor and your teammates are running, but now GB 12 seconds to maybe get the last score of this first quarter.
Been a very free-flowing first quarter, but in this last minute or so, it's been very scrappy. Both teams struggling to find a rhythm here as the shot clock obviously turned off in the final 10 seconds. Nelson on the pick and roll from Olaseni, who was looking for the throwdown, didn't get it off the glass and gets it at the buzzer. And Great Britain end the first quarter 22-15 to the good over Luxembourg. Gabe Olaseni with 5 points. Miles Hessen leads GB with 8 points. And for Luxembourg, Philip Gutenkopf with 6 points, Alex Laurent with 5. What have you made of that first quarter thus far?
Well, I think the difference is rebounding. GB outrunning Luxembourg 15-7, and just that extra aggression on the boards, just picking up extra chances. You look at the shot count, Great Britain taking 21 shots, Luxembourg just 14, so more opportunities leading to more conversions. GB, I think defensively, yes, they've only given up 15 points, that's great, but you're still allowing Luxembourg opportunities there, and I think in the second quarter for Luxembourg, I think, yes, possibly you need to be more aggressive in the paint as well, but it's just ball movement around the perimeter. It's been a little bit slow. It's a little bit staid at times. What they need to do is zip the ball around more, look for chances outside, try and get good shots. If they can't get it, yes, then you go inside, but just ask different things of Great Britain defensively.
Absolutely, we are just about to start the second quarter. Luxembourg shooting 42% from the field, but as Mark said, have shot 7 less than Great Britain. They haven't had a lot of success outside. They're 0 for 4 from three-point land. Great Britain have landed 2 triples in this first quarter. Of course, both teams have already had 1 win under their belt in these pre-qualifiers. Luxembourg beating Kosovo last Saturday, and Great Britain beating Kosovo on Wednesday night. Great Britain back here next Saturday to take on Kosovo in their penultimate game. They then travel to Luxembourg City on the 21st of August. Thomas Gruen on the ball. And a whistle is gone as Vucekovic was looking to feed Robert Xavier in the post. And the foul has been called on Connor Washington. That's his first foul. Connor Washington, of course, played his basketball last season for the Leicester Riders. Be showcasing his talents in Hungary this season. Kevin Mora, good defense though from Washington. Mora gets it back, shot clock winding down. Luxembourg shooting, especially from outside, very dry at the moment. Here is Washington. Olaseni inside. Turnaround hook shot is short. And rebound picked up there by Joe Kelms.
Yeah, it's interesting. Olaseni playing in the German Bundesliga last season for Wolfsburg, and I asked him, I know he's a free agent now. He signed anywhere yet since I spoke to him midweek? A little pause there. I think he's got a deal in the works.
Vucekovic inside off the glass. Of course, one of the standouts from the EuroBasket 2017 campaign was Gabe Olaseni. Nelson for 3, no good. Rebound by Xavier. Good steal there from Nelson on the pass from Francois, and Xavier Francois recovers and blocks Nelson's free layup attempt. And Kevin Mora from deep, his foot was actually on the line. That's a 2-pointer.
That's just better ball movement, doesn't it? Just getting yourself small, opening some airspace to operate him.
Washington, long three, no good, and Xavier with the rebound. Here is Thomas Grun. Grun putting the moves on Nelson. Beautifully done by Thomas Grun.
A 6-0 run to start their second quarter. Game back on for the Luxembourgeois.
Gap is 1 point. Solowadi for three, no good. Whistle on the play though.
Of course, GB, we should say, without their regular captain Dan Clark, who's may come back, he told me before Wednesday night's visit to Luxembourg. Just having a little minor knee injury. I was sitting on the bench cheering on his teammates there. Matching black shirt. I don't think I've seen GB playing back in black and white before. New look for this summer. Very fashionable in Love Island, apparently.
Solowadi to the line for two. You notice I'm not going to be saying anything about that just yet.
I know you've got your scrapbook at home. It's all backed up in your hard drive. The Ove Soko collection.
The family enjoyed watching Love Island this summer. I breezed in and out of it, I must admit.
I didn't see a minute of it, sorry.
Solowadi makes his free throws, and Great Britain lead by three in the early stages of this second quarter. Grun going inside again and scoring on Nelson.
Well, alert there to the opportunity. A lane to open up. GB's defense caught napping. Luxembourg
That's
keeping up this pressure.
My apologies, that's back-to-back scores now for Thomas Grun. Inside it goes. Poor pass from Okareafor, and Luxembourg come back with it. Here is Kevin Mora. Laurent inside, and the whistle's gone. It's a foul, looks to be on Solowadi. In fact, no, it's on Luke Nelson.
It's just that nice chemistry about the Luxembourg team. The GB take their time out. You know, you can see that familiarity that they've built up over the last few years. And yes, they went into the last part of European qualifying, went 1-3, got their only win when they went to Cyprus and that. But you can see the players knowing what they're doing. I mean, we talk about it like that in international basketball. Of course, the FIBA World Cup beginning over in China at the end of this month. Of course, we're all excited to see that, the stars of basketball. But of course, the big tell at the moment is that US team, the defending champions, heavy favourites still, but very much a new look team, and it's going to be fascinating to see what happens when they go over there off a month of training camp. Can a group that haven't really played together in any way internationally go to the World Cup and perform at the highest level against those European teams that have big cores, your Spains, your Frances, that have played together for years. And I can't wait for the World Cup this year. It's going to be a fascinating competition.
And reading an article just a couple of days ago, and Serbia coach Sasha Jordovic saying God help the USA if they actually play them. And of course we all know what happened in the 2014 World Cup final when the USA effectively wiped out Serbia with a first half barrage of three-pointers, led of course by Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, it was the same in the Olympic final, Rio 2016. There's those few moments we thought maybe it's game on, but US always so strong. I mean, they're bigger players, of course, will be back for the Olympics next year, but the World Cup, it's going to make it a fascinating tournament. You say Serbia, Nikola Jokic, a great roster that they have. So, yeah, an open competition, which is what you want to see in international basketball.
Back to the action here in Manchester. Carl Johnson into the game for the first time. Hessen for three, and that's in and out.
Kyle Johnson in the building for GB. Where's 15?
Here is Vucevic looking for options, finds it in Laurent. Laurent taking on Johnson. Pull-up jumper is no good. And it's tipped by Xavier, who finds Grun. Grun goes inside, kicks it out. Mora for three, no good. And a whistle has gone. That's a foul. It looks like on Gabe Olaseni. That's his first.
Kyle Johnson into the game for GB, the only active survivor this evening from that 2012 Olympic team.
Kyle Johnson will be playing his basketball in Iceland this season. Of course, only played cameo minutes, as it were, at London 2012. Of course, Dan Clark, the other survivor, but on the bench here tonight. Kyle Johnson brought great energy in that win against Kosovo. Here's Laurent for three, and that's good. Alex Laurent from downtown.
Terrific ball movement once again. Kicking out to the open shooter, not looking for the tough, complicated shot. Getting the simple shot.
Luxembourg lead 26-24. As Hessen was driving to the hoop and had his play deflected. It'll be a Great Britain ball. Okareafor didn't have his best night scoring, but contributes in so many other ways in Kosovo on Wednesday night. Salawadi for three is short. And here comes Felipe Gutenkopf over the top, and Thomas Grun. Not sure really if that was an alley-oop play or if he was just trying to get the ball, but he was...
It was an alley-oop play when you can't get up for the oop pass.
Hessen inside, nice sidestep, but he was under the basket, didn't have enough room. Gutenkopf loses it. Here's Hessen. Both teams with turnovers in opening possessions here. Here's Okareafor. Kicks it out. Kyle Johnson inside. Olaseni spreads the floor. Salawadi with the floater is no good. On the follow was Hessen. And inside again was Olaseni. He'll go to the line for two shots. Both teams getting to that scrappy period again that we saw at the end of this first quarter.
Well, Luxembourg not afraid to get their hands dirty inside. They are matching up. They're not giving away easy baskets. And they're forcing those misses. And yes, Olaseni gets the offensive board there, draws the foul. But you like the fact, the aggression that Luxembourg are bringing defensively here in this second quarter.
Gabe Olaseni with 5 points, 7 rebounds, again flirting with a double-double.
And here we are, 5 minutes into this second period. GB yet to register their first field goal of the period.
Olaseni with the second free throw, and the gap is 1 point. Luxembourg still with the advantage. Gutenkopf, here is Xavier. Salawadi nearly stole it off Laurent. Xavier backing down Olaseni, a wild hook shot though, and Gareth Murray into the game for the first time gets the defensive rebound. Gareth Murray, of course, into the GB squad, replacing Jamal Anderson. Here is Murray, looking for options. Salawadi drives at Laurent, outside, so it goes to Hessen. Hessen off the glass, finds nothing. Olaseni on the follow. Agonizingly goes short, and Thomas Grun missed the handle there off the pass from Xavier, so Great Britain will get another bite of the cherry.
Yeah. As Luxembourg call a timeout, yeah, Murray actually missed that game because he was coaching GB's under-18 team in their European Championship. You know, first, you know, I've been a great servant to GP players, of course, for his club basketball for Glasgow Rocks, but you know, that veteran presence that they're bringing in tonight to ameliorate the squad. But if you look at the timeout now, you know, that Ken Diederich has seen his side defensively bully GB in this quarter. I think he'll be extremely satisfied with how he's been able to keep GB off the board, force Great Britain into tough shots. I mean, in this quarter so far, field goal attempts, just one for GB so far in 5 minutes of basketball, over 5 minutes. So they have put that pressure on, and they have asked really difficult questions of the way that GB are moving. You know, we knew that they were coming in knowing that their offense is very much a work in progress, and it's looked at very much in this quarter. And now, as Nate Rankin sits in that timeout, those home fans here tonight, lots of them in, but they'll be wanting maybe to see more variety, just cleaner balls inside. And Murray's the kind of player who's defensively very effective, but he's good at bringing some poise to the offense, and they'll look for better passes and better shots.
Hessen goes to Olaseni inside, and his attempt is good off the glass. And Great Britain restore their lead at 27-26. Laurent, good defense there from Luke Nelson, but Laurent finds some room. Long two is no good. Big rebound from Hessen. And a foul has been called, and Mark, Great Britain have, in fact, there will be a Luxembourg ball. Apologies. Referee changes his mind, and Mark, it's been a good summer for Great Britain overall, with the women reaching the semi-finals of EuroBasket women, and the junior teams, of course, retaining their Division A status, the under-20s and the under-18s.
Yeah, what a brilliant run by Great Britain's women. 4th place at their EuroBasket, which culminated in a run to the semi-finals over in Belgrade. Yeah, just a superb performances for Chema Butheta's team, and next February they will play in the Olympic qualifying tournaments with a real shot at getting to Tokyo 2020. And for this sport in this country, what a lift, what a boost, and every single one of those players with reasons to be proud of their accomplishments. The best ever finish by any senior British team.
Joe Counds with the 2, and Luxembourg have the lead back. Teddy Okorafor was short with his three-point attempt. Thomas Grun for 3, no good, it's short. Ashley Hamilton with the long rebound.
When you're speaking to GB's men ahead of these qualifiers, you're putting it to them. Did you watch it? Yeah. Were you inspired by that run? Yeah. Do you want more of that for ourselves? Absolutely.
Off the glass is good for Miles Hessen. Both teams playing a game of tug and war with the lead at the moment. Here's Grun. Gutenkopf. Grun driving inside on Nelson, and his floater is no good. Here comes Okorafor. Okorafor looking for options. Here's Hessen with the turnaround jumper, is short. Gutenkopf getting it off Alex Laurent. Grun. See a lot of the offense going through these three, but Joe Counds inside. Nice play from Luxembourg, and Counds finishes it off.
Just a great cut to the basket, just been alert to that opportunity. Teammate finds him. Simple plays.
A lot of the offense going through Laurent, Grun and Gutenkopf. At the moment, Counds finishing it off, and a turnover there is Okorafor's pass a little too strong for Ashley Hamilton, and few possessions now where Great Britain with incomplete plays.
It's tit for tat at the moment. 5 lead changes in this quarter so far, and I think you've got 2 minutes left here in the second. Psychologically, you want that halftime advantage because it's been so tight. You just want to start executing. So when you go into the locker room, Luxembourg will be very happy with how they've been so far. GB perhaps less so.
Gutenkopf looking for options. Shot clock winding down. Gutenkopf for 3 is long. Good defense around the perimeter there from Great Britain. Here comes Okorafor. Gareth Murray. Miles Hessen. Nice pass inside, and Hamilton will be going to the line for 2 shots. That was better from Great Britain, going inside, attacking Luxembourg's big men.
Yeah, and Ash Hamilton's he's got the speed to do that. He's got the strength to do that. And, we saw last season in the BBL for London City Royals. Started the season late because of a wrist injury, but so much experience from playing overseas and big time in Spain, and came into the domestic league back in Britain and played so well in that Royals team that picked up the BBL trophy, and now back in the GB setup, using his talents there in the middle.
Ashley Hamilton, 30 years old, actually averaged 14 points a game for the London City Royals last season. As Mark said, picked up the BBL trophy in their debut season. And the game is tied at 30 as we enter the final 1 minute and 15 seconds of this second quarter. Good defense there from Hamilton on Grun. Alex Laron putting the moves on Hamilton. Good defense though, and Miles Hessen comes away with it. Here comes Hamilton in transition. Inside is good. And a whistle has gone as well. I think Alex Laron is clutching his knee on the far side near the Luxembourg bench. And timeout has been called. And Mark, just going back to the Great Britain summer, we were talking about the women, but also the junior setup. Two teams retaining Division A status, the under-20s and the under-18s. The under-16s currently in action at the moment, but what does it mean for the future of Great Britain and British basketball that these teams are retaining Division A status?
Well, it's important because it's important for a pathway. It's important if you play Division A, you get better competition. Division B, so you progress from that. And I think if you look at the men, 8th place in their Division A, and these things are important. They're good signs that the talent is coming through and they're able to progress on that.
Of course, the under-20s beating Serbia in that second round. A lot of people, a lot of eyebrows were raised after that, especially going 0-3 in pool play and then coming out and beating the #1 ranked Serbian team and then going on, as you said, to finish in 8th place.
What's the benchmark, isn't it? You play the Serbs, probably the best development factory in all of Europe, and going to win them. And you look at GB's women, they're pushing for Division A status the other day, beat Croatia by 22 points. Again, another powerhouse of Europe, and came out on top. Holly Winterburn been terrific from that young Leicester Riders product going to the University of Oregon this year. So young talent, we can see male and female coming through. They push these old guards on and keep them on their toes.
Of course, a lot of the Great Britain players here in Manchester are product of the 1995 class, including Luke Nelson, who's on the floor right now, and Wolf off the glass is no good. Ashley Hamilton with the rebound. Teddy Okorafor gets it. Hessen, nice pass, finds Nelson, has to kick it out. Okorafor, open three, and Teddy Okorafor is no good. Rebound Hamilton. A lot of second chance opportunities for Great Britain in this second quarter as time winds down. Gareth Murray from deep, short. And the ball goes out of bounds despite the efforts of Ashley Hamilton, and Luxembourg will get the final possession with 5.2 remaining. Jan Wolf will be coming out. Kevin Moore is coming in for Luxembourg, just to add a bit more depth to the shooting for Luxembourg, especially in these final 5.2 seconds.
I mean, Luxembourg like that driving kick. Can they get through the middle spreader out to the perimeter?
Gutenkopf goes all the way, and his layup is no good, but the whistle is gone. Gutenkopf still on the floor, holding his head. He did go down hard. And it looks like we will be getting 2 foul shots with no time on the clock. Felipe Gutenkopf will go to the foul line. We were talking much earlier that the majority of these Luxembourg players play their basketball in Luxembourg City, and Felipe Gutenkopf playing for Itzela, who won the league and cup double in the Luxembourg Total League last season. And Mark, Gavin Love, a former Plymouth Raiders coach, coaching in Luxembourg. What do you make of the Total League? What do we know about it?
Well, he coaches at Contour in his second season, going back there for a second spell. He's just finished his holidays and he's back for pre-season training next week. But a league that he really enjoys because you have, yes, you've got that balance between part-timers, a few imports here and there, but it's a league that very much relies on talent that comes together, plays together, not as much movement as you'd find in other leagues. And speaking to Gavin, as I do a lot, loves it over there.
And the last-ditch attempt there from Hamilton, no good. And that is the end of the first half here at the National Basketball Performance Centre in Manchester. Great Britain 32, Luxembourg 31. Miles Hessen leading the way for GB with 10 points. Gabe Olaseni with 8 points. And for Luxembourg, Alex Laurent with 8 points leading the way. Mark, just quickly, what have you made of this first half in brief?
Well, I think for GB, it's really about offensive execution, isn't it? Particularly that second quarter, they shot 18 field goal attempts, made just 3 in that period. Luxembourg much more efficient. 7 of their 18 attempts went down. And I think that came from just aggression defensively, moving into execution offensively. GB, I think, defensively, both these teams have played reasonably well. Let's be honest, they've shut down some of the strengths of the opposition, but I think for me, this game will be decided who gets better shots, who works the ball inside, I think, where the opportunities are there. For GB, I think Gabe Olaseni, yes, so far in this game, has 8 points. I think aggressive inside. If they can feed the ball into him in the paint, I think GB's chances coming away with the second victory increase exponentially.
Absolutely, and with 13 minutes until the third quarter begins, we will take a break and we'll be back in 10 minutes' time.
results are due this coming Friday, and it's fair to say it's kind of spoiled his holidays. The one thing he was most upset about was missing Teesside Lions basketball caps and their Canadian tournament. Barry is lovable and a part of our furniture, it says. We're bringing him to the game to see GB on Saturday. If he could meet any of the players or anything like that, it would be fantastic. It would improve what's been a disappointing summer break. It would be really incredible. GB was very moved by this letter, and wanted to make a special presentation to Charlie, and this presentation will be made by one of the legends of GB basketball. Make some noise for Mr. Ben Clark, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And make some noise for Charlie as well. Make some noise one more time and say best wishes to Charlie. Let's send his good news this week. All the very best. Ladies and gentlemen, while we're around this, can I ask you to make some noise for one of the legends of British basketball, a photographer by the name of Graham Hodges. Graham over there, can we see your hands in the air, Graham? That's Graham. Had a really tough time. And an some noise. I've got a quick question for you. Who here is supporting Luxembourg? Who here is supporting GB? That's the kind of noise we need through the second half. Don't be shy. When we do something great, make some noise, okay?
Hello everyone and welcome back to the National Basketball Performance Centre here in Manchester. Great Britain lead Luxembourg 32-31 in the EuroBasket 2021 pre-qualifiers. Mark Woods I'm here with, and Mark, you spoke to both camps. What was the vibe in the dressing room at half-time?
Well, speaking to Luxembourg head coach Ken Diederich, what he said, for us in this second half, we need to do a better job getting offensive rebounds. Just 3 of them in the entire first half. And he said as well, we have not shot the three-pointer very well, just 1 of 9, because we must take more of those shots, and we've got to make them if we are to stand a chance. As for Great Britain, well, Mark Stoughton, the assistant coach, had one simple thing that they emphasised: up the tempo. So they must play this second half with more pace, get out in transition, and be effective on transition. Well, I think what Luxembourg did very well in that first half was stopping Great Britain, getting out in fast breaks, getting easy scores. It's going to be a fascinating second half.
Of course, the winners of this group will go on to the EuroBasket qualifiers proper next year to face off against France, Germany and Montenegro.
That's a great incentive, isn't it? You go.
It's a good group.
Get through. It's big heavyweight teams, big action, all in the race to make the 2021 finals.
Of course, the winners of this match will be firmly in the driving seat in these pre-qualifiers. Both of them 1-0. Here is Olaseni inside, and Olaseni travels with it.
Of course, announced recently that 2021 finals to be co-hosted between Germany, Georgia, Czech Republic and Italy, and that final phase to be played in Berlin. So it promised to be a fantastic Europeans.
Absolutely.
But you've got to get there first. Years away.
Yeah. Absolutely beautiful city, the capital of Germany, and been there many times, as if you as well, covering major sporting events. Nelson for 3. No good, and Great Britain straight away going along the perimeter and not finding much success. Here's Grun. Good hands there from Okorafor. And it will be a Great Britain possession. Good defense there from Teddy Okorafor.
It's just about those guards being pests, isn't it? Just disrupting the rhythm, especially to keeping those three-point shooters of Luxembourg in check.
Hessen, his shot off the glass was no good. Good defense there from Laurent. Here is Gutenkopf for Luxembourg, looking for options, finds it in Laurent, kicks it out, Vucekovic, sorry. And here is Laurent for 3, and his 3 is good. And Luxembourg back in the lead at 34-32. Nelson looking for options, finds it in Olaseni, but Nelson carried the ball. That's a rare call. You don't see that often in international basketball.
Or indeed any basketball, but again, simple things, simple execution. You look at the Luxembourg bench there, very calm, having a bit of a laugh amongst themselves, enjoying this game. Lots to like in what they've done so far.
Grun driving at Okorafor, kicks it out. Gutenkopf stops and scores. Good start to this third quarter from Luxembourg. Okorafor thought about the 3, instead will put up the 3, and his 3 rattles in. Teddy Okorafor from downtown. Grun driving at Miles Hessen, again kicks out. Good pass inside, and Vucekovic scores. Good passing there from Luxembourg, understanding where the other player is, and Luxembourg will get possession back. Teddy Okorafor bumping into Thomas Grun. And an offensive foul has been called. In fact, actually went out of bounds, my apologies. Almost a nervy start, Mark, you feel, from Great Britain in this third quarter.
Well, you don't want to lose your home games, and you don't want to be in a situation where you're splitting the difference, and effectively buries that three. You see Nate Rankin forced into a timeout. You don't want to be in a situation where you effectively are going to Luxembourg in midweek on their home court and needing to win that game by a particular point differential. Now you're down by 6. These are huge margins. You think back to the last round of EuroBasket qualifying when GB effectively were battling for top spot against Austria in the group. Wins and losses the same, but GB lost out on points differential. And we were here in that game, the second game that they played, when GB chasing a deficit when they'd lost heavily against Austria away, couldn't pull it back here, and thus then had to play this extra round of qualifiers this summer. So the home games are important, the points differential is important, but in a 3-team group when really it's a 2-horse race, you don't want to come out of that first furlong, if I can use the horse racing analogy, trailing your rivals.
Luxembourg now leading 41-35, their biggest lead of the game. Their biggest lead was 2 points before that. Full of confidence as coming out of the timeout. Great Britain, as you said, calling that timeout very early. Nate Rankin feeling he had to talk to his troops to just get them to calm down. A lot of their possessions very static.
The static's a good word that sums up much of that offense, in the game so far. That's a lack of maybe playing together, but you've got to just push through that.
Great Britain only had about 5 days of training camp before their first game at Kosovo on Wednesday. Of course, Great Britain next in action next Saturday here in Manchester against Kosovo. Luxembourg will be playing in midweek in Kosovo. Miles Hessen, Luke Nelson driving inside, and a foul on the floor. That shot won't count. It's a foul on Thomas Grun. That's his second foul of the evening. Hessen driving at Grun, goes inside off the glass, is good. Nice play there from Miles Hessen, and he moves on to 12 points, leading all scorers. Laron inside, Vucekovic looking for options, goes at Olaseni. Vucekovic loses the handle. Gutenkopf with a pull-up jumper is good. Felipe Gutenkopf now has 11 points.
Momentum and confidence with Luxembourg now. GB needs to snuff it out and quick.
And the pass for Gabe Olaseni was tipped out of bounds. And it will be a Luxembourg ball, or a Great Britain ball. Hessen for three. No good. Olaseni with the offensive rebound. Okafor will reset the play for Great Britain with 6 on the shot clock. Washington for three is good. Connor Washington from downtown.
And that's where you're looking for the better shot, the best shot that you can get rather than settling. Washington taking advantage.
Gutenkopf for three is no good. Okafor with the rebound. Washington, another three for Connor Washington, but this time his attempt is short. Had such a good game from outside, did Connor Washington in the win over Kosovo. Thomas Grun Xavier inside, Vucekovic loses it, and it will stay a Luxembourg possession.
Touch more urgency, isn't it? Touch more urgency, touch more speed. GB still trail out.
Gutenkopf for three is way short, and Great Britain get possession back. It's been a good start from Luxembourg, but you can just sense, Mark, that Great Britain just finding their feet slightly in this third quarter now.
Well, they had good spells against Kosovo midweek, but it was 2-3 minutes here and there, then it's slumped them back again. So there was things they liked defensively, particularly from that game. But it is offensive execution that they need now.
Okafor off the glass is good. Beautiful move from Teddy Okafor.
Another player played in Italy last season. Again, I had a quick word with him before the game. I said, where are you playing this year? He said, can't tell you. Expect the signing news there. Somewhere, a move. And this basketball off-season, which of course not that long away. All these domestic leagues, including the BBL, restart again.
Laurent for three is no good, but the foul has been called. It'll be on Luke Nelson. That's his third foul. And Alex Laurent going to the line for 3 shots.
Yeah, it's hard to believe here we're sitting in the summer. You know, a lot of people just off the beach, still on the beach. And we just look a few weeks hence to that start of the British Basketball League campaign, the start of the Luxembourg League campaign, and we all start round again for the autumn and the winter and the spring.
Of course, it's been anything but being at the beach over the last few days, especially today. We've had gale force winds and rain, flood warnings. It's a far cry from the beach weather you're talking about.
Yeah, Manchester not the place to be tonight if you want sunshine. You want balminess if you want al fresco dining. But it's basketball weather. We're indoors.
Absolutely.
And we've got a great game here.
So on the subject of the weather, a quick shout out to Kieran Achara, who was meant to be here tonight, but was stuck in weather. Hope he's watching and enjoying the action here in Manchester.
The newly retired Kieran Achara, of course. Yeah, it'd be very strange this season when it begins without his presence.
Of course, what a retirement season he had last year. Numerous venues around the British Basketball League presenting Kieran Achara with some fantastic mementos. I remember Surrey gave him a jersey, and Kieran was saying to me yesterday it was one of his favourites. As Connor Washington gets it, as Alex Laurent couldn't handle it. Hamilton for 2 is good.
Well, that's the momentum buster that you're after, isn't it? Ash Hamilton, wide open. Doesn't take a lot of threes, but what an effective one that was.
Luxembourg still lead, but their lead has been trimmed down to just a single point. As Dwayne Loieti-Ogunle, sorry about that, will come into the game. Mars Hessen takes a seat. 4:12 remaining in this third quarter.
Mal Hassan's done a great job, hasn't he, stepping in? You know, you talked about wanting to be a leader, wanting to emerge a leader of this group, and he's certainly done it by example.
Xavier inside. Backs down Hamilton, and the hook shot is good. Great Britain just can't seem to shake off Luxembourg. Whenever they get close, Luxembourg again with a 2. Okafor, here's Washington.
You're just looking really for a decisive run to snap into action here, aren't you?
All it takes is a run. Hamilton has to get it off Laurent, and it will be a Great Britain possession.
Ken Diederich, active and vocal on the sidelines now. Wants a defensive stop from his Luxembourg players.
Hamilton with a turnaround is long. Rebound by Laurent. And here is Arhunt for the ball, on the ball for Luxembourg. Grun. Laron, they go inside to Vudakovic. And turnover, Connor Washington comes up with it. Great Britain can break. They have numbers. Okafor, open three, is good. And Luxembourg call a timeout with 3:05 remaining. And you just sense that Great Britain making that run now, very slowly but surely, Mark.
The second three-pointer of the game, and a critical one there. I think for Luxembourg, it's also a question at this point of just staying patient. You've played so well, you've played to your strengths. Yes, the momentum shifts a little bit back. It does in basketball. It is a game of runs, but Luxembourg have played smart, secure basketball. And although Great Britain are starting to shake things up, finding other options, particularly in the perimeter, you just want to make sure that you don't go away from what you've done so well.
Game is tied at 48 with 3:05 remaining in this third quarter. It's been a very back and forth third quarter, neither side able to wrestle away from each other. Fantastic crowd here in the Northwest, braving the weather to come down to the National Basketball Performance Centre and see the boys in action for the first time this summer, and of course they'll be back here next Saturday.
Of course, big game Wednesday night in Pristina.
Arhunt falls down, he's clutching his knee. Foul was called on Connor Washington.
Yeah, that big game in midweek, when you look about these sort of campaigns, because they're so short, just how vital is it to pick up those little scrappy wins? And now both these teams would take a scrappy win here this evening.
Arhunt on the ball for Luxembourg, driving at Washington, using his speed off the glass, and the foul. Beautifully done there from the 21-year-old. Scored 10 points in Luxembourg's win over Kosovo. A talented point guard, one to look out for in the future. Felipe Arhunt, who will go to the line for one shot. And no good with his free throw attempt. Ogunle. Okafor driving at Grun, and his floater is no good. Gets his own rebound though, and it goes out of bounds. Grun touched it last. He's not happy with the call, but it'll stay a GB possession. Murray looking for options, finds it in Washington. Murray. Ogunle thought about the three inside, drives inside, but doesn't find anything. Few more options available for him. Inside it goes, and Xavier scores. Nice play from Luxembourg in transition.
What was just getting out in speed there? They saw the mismatch there against Connor Washington. Ball high, able to take it inside.
And that momentum that GB had has now gone again. Luxembourg back up by 4. Connor Washington for 3 is short. You find that Great Britain now starting to rely a bit more heavier on their three-point attempts. Xavier. Here is Arhunt driving again at Washington, but instead loses it, and Washington comes up with it. Murray. Okafor. Inside it goes to Murray, backing down Grun. Nice spin, and his hook shot is way off. Here comes Thomas Grun, and decides to just slow it down a little bit. Instead, goes for 3, is no good. And Okafor comes up with the rebound. Entering the final minute of this third quarter here in Manchester. inside to Hamilton, no good.
And that was actually a well-executed offensive play that Nate Rankin was calling in the sidelines. You saw Ash Hamilton coming out, set the screen, went for the return, couldn't quite finish it. That's the thing GB want more of.
Laurent for three. And Ashley Hamilton gets the rebound. Here come Great Britain again, and Okafor is fouled by Robert Xavier. 33.1 seconds remaining in this third quarter.
And what I like from Xavier Francois throughout this game, you saw active at both ends of the floor, not afraid to come up and defend high against those quick guards, and it's made it difficult to set offenses up for GB.
Wild pass there from Okafor to Mo Solowadi, who wasn't even going to attempt to jump up to that, and Luxembourg get possession back with 25.8 seconds. They can maybe get about the last shot of the quarter, but there is still a bit of a differential. However, Arhunt turns it over. Here come Great Britain, who will have the last possession of this third quarter. Solowadi finds Hessen for three, short, and Laurent will get the rebound, and his attempt wasn't too bad, but didn't find anything, and that will end the third quarter here in Manchester. Great Britain 48, Luxembourg 52. Luxembourg will definitely be happy with that, but what have Great Britain got to do in this fourth quarter?
You've got to get out. You've got to have speed. They talked about pushing the tempo. They've pushed it, but not under control. And, it's been ragged still, and they're not getting fast breaks. You're not getting those easy baskets that make the difference. Luxembourg there in their huddle can very easily say, look, if we keep control, if we keep doing the simple things we need, we could be okay here. GB there, concerned faces in that timeout. The coach is just taking a few moments to decide what they need to do. Great Britain need to play with more composure. They need to get good shots. They have not got good shots consistently in this game. That'll be ball movement. Whether you look inside to Owaseni, whether you look for open, uncontested shots in the perimeter, whatever option you take, you need good opportunities, particularly through ball movement. A lot of responsibility on Teddy Okorafor, Luke Nelson. Make things happen. Make good things happen here, because now GB trailing by 4 and on their home court. Real pressure to get this win. Just before we start the fourth tonight, we talked about European competition. GB's under-20 women tonight, losing to Finland in their semi-final this evening. That's a Division B. Tomorrow night we'll play in a third-play playoff for promotion. So for them, great run to the semis, and a hugely important day for them and for GB basketball tomorrow.
Just continuing with Great Britain's great summer, as Luxembourg get the first possession of this fourth quarter, up by 4 in the final quarter. Laurent. Wolf for three. He's way off. Young Wolf, not normally known for his three-point shooting. The 25-year-old. Connor Washington on the ball. Hessen finds some room and throws it down. Miles Hessen out of nowhere. And the gap is 2. That got the fans up and on their feet. Gutenkopf. Laurent for 3. No good. It's a scramble under the basket. Solowadi comes up with it. Here comes Great Britain. Chance to tie in the early stages. And Gutenkopf gets it back off Laurent, but couldn't get the return. Unlucky there from Luxembourg, but Miles Hessen just finding some room, Mark, and throwing it down hard.
Aggression is what you need. Poise is what you need. Hessen is one of those tone setters.
Here is Hessen on the ball. Poor pass, though, looking for Olaseni. And it will be a Luxembourg possession. Of course, when Luxembourg visited London back in 2016, they enjoyed the lead for periods of that game as well before Great Britain pulled away late on. Will Great Britain do that here, or will Luxembourg recreate what happened in Luxembourg City in that summer? Here is Solowadi. Nelson thought about the three, instead drives inside off the glass, is no good, and Gabe Olaseni got the offensive rebound and will go to the line for 2 shots. Bit of urgency here from Great Britain in the early stages of the final period.
Well, that's maybe where you play better under pressure, when you don't think about it too much, when you go to your strengths, when players do what they're good at individually. But you're also going to make your free throws.
Something that Gabe Olaseni did not do on that first attempt. And Olaseni misses both free throws. Luxembourg still up by a field goal in the early stages of this final quarter. Gutenkopf. Laurent, you can sense the GB fans just getting a little more louder, a little more animated from the bleachers. Moore inside, finds nothing, calms, and that's a shot clock violation. Good defense there from Great Britain as they get another possession and another chance to tie or take the lead.
You can see what that meant to the GB bench, up as one, unified, supportive. Chance to take the lead.
Solowadi looking for options instead, goes for 3 and puts it in! Mo Solowadi from downtown. And Great Britain have the lead, 53-52. Gutenkopf. Luxembourg with patient offense. Gutenkopf kicks it out. Mora puts up a 3. No good, it's long. Hessen gets the board. Solowadi. Washington, Nelson, straight away for 3, short. Laurent driving at Hessen, pull-up jumper, finds nothing. Good defense from Great Britain in these last 3 possessions.
GB doing a better job rotating internally. They're defending better up in the elbow, contesting shots. That's what you must do. You must force the opposition into tougher scores.
And Luxembourg's starting 5 are now on the court. Solowadi inside to Olaseni, off the glass, no good, but he will get 2 shots. That's better from GB.
Yeah, no, it's only 2 of 5 from the free throw line tonight. You know that if you get the ball into him inside, he will draw foul shots. Overall tonight, though, GB not shooting the ball well from the free throw line. As you said, 8 of 15 thus far. There's 7 points, critical points gone a begging to this point. These 2 needed.
And Olaseni makes the first. That's Robert Xavier's 4th foul. With 6:31 remaining, it'll be a big loss for Luxembourg if he fouls out. Really needs to stay out of that, of foul trouble now. Grun. Good defense there from Solowadi, and near double team as well. Here is Xavier. Laurent, offensive foul, and that is Robert Xavier's night over. That'll be his 5th foul.
6 points, 4 rebounds, and that huge scalp, if you want to put it that way, for GB. And Miles Hessen putting his body on the line. We said it earlier about his progression, coming through Birmingham, going into the British League in Essex, and then went to Germany. And he said to me a few weeks ago in an interview I did with him, it was a gamble to go overseas. It's the comfort zone of staying in your own country. You get a shot overseas in a bigger league, wasn't the biggest team, but he went over there, made an impression, got a bigger move, got an even bigger move, and now, despite a couple of knee injuries, has really established himself as one of our best exports.
Of course, our team captain, or GB's team captain, in the absence of Dan Clark, had 13 points, 9 rebounds against Kosovo. Grun inside off the glass, no good. Olaseni with the rebound. Here comes Solowadi. Here is Hessen inside off the glass, no good. Gutenkopf here for Luxembourg. 5:29 remaining in the fourth. Helms from the side is no good. Luxembourg's jump shots not finding their intended targets in this fourth quarter.
No, it's 0 for 7 shooting-wise this period. We're 5 minutes exactly in. Now 7 straight points in this quarter, none for Luxembourg.
And Nelson attacks Joe Cowms, and he'll go to the line for 2 shots. Great Britain finding a lot of success now attacking the basket and finding their points from the foul line.
It is, again, the critical thing of what Nate Rankin will be happy with when he goes into this timeout. No field goals. And the pressure that they've been able to put on the ball, both inside and out, has really been the difference here. Yes, it's only 3 points different. This game is still absolutely up for grabs, but it's been very effective here. Luxembourg in that timeout, how do you get points now? Just get yourself up and running. Can you be aggressive inside, get some foul shots? Can you go on the perimeter, try and look for threes? They've not shot the ball well from three-point range, 3 of 19 to just 15%. It's really going to be those mid-range jumpers that maybe get them up and running now. But with 5 minutes left, the momentum is with GB. Luxembourg on the back foot suddenly. It's going to be a fascinating 5 minutes, isn't it?
And what will you be telling the Luxembourg team? If you were Ken Dykerick right now, what would you be telling your guys?
I think it's trust in our defense. You're still only 3 down. But it's going to be, look at how can we get out quickly? Let's cause some disruption, just change things around. Our guards were doing so well in that first half of moving the ball around, whether you're shooting inside or out, of moving the ball. Make GB guess, make GB move. You need to show something different, perhaps, than to what you've shown in this second half so far, to what the first half when they were being very effective.
Luke Nelson going to the line for 2 shots. His father, Steve Nelson, in attendance tonight. He's been very vocal from the sidelines. Of course, Luke Nelson, a former Worthing Thunder junior, played a season at the Reading Rockets.
You had to get Worthing Thunder in,
I had to get, I'm a Worthing man, had to get that in.
Yeah, Nelson getting into this another year of his contract in Gran Canaria in the Spanish ACB. It's significant. No, Luxembourg had 4 team fouls in this quarter. GB yet to concede even 1. Could that be a factor?
Grun looking for options, finds it in Gutenkopf. And Gutenkopf was fouled. He was looked like he was about to shoot, but almost lost the ball. And before he gave it out to Grun, was fouled.
Yeah, Luke Nelson picking up his 4th foul.
Substitution coming in for Luxembourg,
Kevin Mora coming into the game, and Joe Kelms coming out. And Tony Okafor, that's on the foul. He's back into the game, but that's his first foul of the evening. Great Britain lead 57-52 here in Manchester. Gutenkopf for two, banks it home. They all count. And the gap is now 3. Hessen inside. Up and under is no good. And Mora gets the acrobatic rebound. Here is Grun attacking the paint there, but his layup is no good. Here comes Miles Hessen inside, and he's going to go to the foul line for 2. Again though, Mark, GB attacking the basket and getting to the foul line. It's happened again. Miles Hessen now to the line for 2 shots.
Is that aggression maybe that was lacking, particularly in that third quarter, that you can go inside, you can draw fouls, you just make things difficult as you go along, and starting to pay off.
Miles Hessen with 14 points tonight, 6 rebounds. And he currently co-leads all scorers. Alex Laurent for Luxembourg has 14 points as well. And now he leads all scorers with 16. Gutenkopf putting the moves on Olaseni, but his floater was no good. Good recovery from Olaseni. Here come Great Britain. Nelson lost the handle. Inside, Olaseni off the glass, no good. And Gutenkopf comes away with it. Grun. And Luxembourg will slow it down and run a possession. Grun inside, off the glass, no good. And here is Okafor for Great Britain. Solowadi looking for options, finds it in Hessen. Hessen inside, off the glass, is good. Great Britain now, you sense, sort of going away with it right now. They're up by 7. Gutenkopf, Laurent. Good defense from Okafor, comes up with it. Solowadi in transition, off the glass, no good. On the follow was Olaseni. Basket though will not count. Foul was called before Olaseni tapped it in. And Alex Laurent, that's his 3rd foul of the game. 2:38 remaining, and Mark, you just sense that Great Britain just sort of pulling away now.
Yeah, 13-2 run in this 4th quarter, and defense translating into offense. And, for Luxembourg now, you're down by 7, potentially by 9 coming out of these free throws. You really need to push the pace. You need to look, get your shooters on the floor, spread it, get up court, look for offensive rebounds, which they talked about at halftime. It's still been a problem in this second half. And, for Great Britain now, you have that luxury of just being able to calm the pace, slow it down, look for your good shots as well, but you don't necessarily need that urgency. Yes, 2 minutes 38 is a long time in basketball. This game is not done yet. But GB have just done a much better job in this first quarter of playing to their strengths. But of course, Luxembourg have to think about, once they get out of this, Wednesday night they go to Pristina to face Kosovo. Okay, they're 0-2 in this group, but not mathematically out of it as yet. They will look at both these teams tonight, who they still have to play, and say, if we step up, we've still got a shot. It's good when you have a good competitive group, though.
Solowadi makes both free throws, and Great Britain now lead by 9. It's their biggest lead of the game. Grun driving at Olaseni, almost ran out of room there. Instead, kicks it out. And a steal there from Nelson. tipping it away from Vučković. Hessen inside. Under the basket, off the glass. Will go back to the line for 2 shots. You sense that Great Britain living at the foul line at the moment during this 15-2 run.
But, you know, shooting well from the foul line, you know, in this fourth quarter, you know, overall in this period, 8 for 10, and up to then had not shot well, are converting their opportunities. When the pressure was on, it's a good sign.
For Great Britain at the other end, forcing turnovers out of Luxembourg. You see that Luxembourg almost fatiguing in a way as this fourth quarter's dragging on. And Great Britain now with a double-digit lead. Vučković finds some room. Good defense, though, from Olaseni. Luxembourg, though, keep possession. And a double dribble has been called. And Luxembourg have called a timeout. Great Britain with 1:52 remaining leads 65-54. And Mark, for you, who have been the standouts from this game?
Do you know, we were thinking about players. Mentally, a standout who's impressed me tonight has been Mo Soloade. You know, he's played as a junior, really coming through the ranks in Spain. You know, went overseas to improve his game. You know, still very young, unproven at international level. Just played a handful of games, but for me tonight, he's been terrific. You know, he's showed poise. He's been aggressive defensively. He's come up with plays, important plays. Yes, only 7 points, but you know, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. An all-round solid game, and playing more minutes, I think, than he's possibly played for GB now. And when you're looking, I guess, with Nate Rankin coming in, you're looking for what is the nucleus of his team going to be beyond even this summer. I think it's great to see someone like Soloade coming in here in a game of importance and making a really strong contribution.
Less than 2 minutes left to play.
1:52 remaining in this fourth quarter. Great Britain lead 65-54 in what has been a really hard-fought, scrappy at times encounter here in Manchester. Hessen thought about the 3, instead drives hard at Laurent, and his layup is good.
Now it's 13.
Great Britain currently on a 19-2 run, and a steal there from Soloade, and he says thank you very much.
Mo money. Mo money. Great alertness. Finishing off with a flourish of the host here this evening.
And that's a 21-2 run, and a turnover, an offensive foul has been called. This time on Alex Laurent. That's his 4th foul, and he's going to come out of the game as Oliver Vučković comes in with 1:09 remaining. Luke Nelson will take a seat, and Connor Washington back into the game. Hessen driving strong. His layup is no good. Olaseni on the follow. That's 12 points for Olaseni to go with 12 rebounds tonight. Back-to-back double-doubles for Gabe Olaseni here in these pre-qualifiers. Our hunt, his floater is no good. And in the final 40 seconds, Great Britain heading to victory and 2-0 in these pre-qualifiers as they prepare to host Kosovo here on Saturday. Hessen off the glass, long, but Okafor with the rebound. Olaseni, Soloade for 3, way off. Shot clock though turned off, and Luxembourg will have the final possession. Great Britain deserved winners here tonight, but Luxembourg gave them a heck of a fright. Foul called on Olaseni.
4.8 seconds left to play.
4.8 seconds left. And Luxembourg with the final possession. Our hunt for two is no good, and that's the ball game. Great Britain come out 71-54 winners over Luxembourg in what has been a very scrappy but physical game at the same time. Miles Hessen with 22 points and 8 rebounds to lead Great Britain. Gabe Olaseni with a double-double of 12 points and 13 rebounds. And for Luxembourg, Alex Laurent with 14 points to lead the way. Mark, just quickly, what are your thoughts on this game as GB now 2-0 as they face Kosovo on Saturday?
Well, that fourth quarter performance, very impressive, wasn't it? Yes, the scoring run, people will talk about that, finishing it off. 23-2, they outscored Luxembourg over those 10 minutes. But for me, it was just a tightening up defensively, giving away just 2 points, phenomenal. Luxembourg, yes, they didn't shoot the ball well in the fourth. Yes, they lacked aggression in the fourth quarter. But what GB did was take away those strengths. They were much more cohesive. They talked about tonight wanting to be an evening when they were able to be more together, more cohesive, and I guess to communicate better on the floor. And I think they very much did that, and that bodes well for the final 2 games in this EuroBasket pre-qualification group.
And quickly for Luxembourg, they play on Wednesday in Kosovo. What will be the thoughts of Ken Dykerick and his men going into that game?
Well, I think obviously they won by 8 the last time the teams met. Both these games they haven't shot the three-pointer well at all. They will need to get better shots. Either you go inside, you play to your strengths. Outside shooting has not worked for them so far. It's a hit-or-miss game, let's be honest about it, shooting for that. But I think they can still go to Kosovo and be confident of taking that win, and then it becomes a case of, can you overturn a 17-point head-to-head against GB? That's a tough ask.
Well, my thanks to Mark Woods for tonight. It's been a fantastic evening of basketball here at the National Basketball Performance Centre in Manchester. Great Britain improved to 2-0 in their EuroBasket 2021 pre-qualifiers with a 71-54 win over Luxembourg. Luxembourg play Kosovo on Wednesday. Great Britain return here on Saturday to play Kosovo as well. I've been John Hobbs. Thank you very much, everybody, and good night. Nice job.